How are you, my younger brothers? I'm your elder brother, Kiran Roy. Just a few days back, I had made one reel in which I had said that never ever fall in love with a woman. You can definitely love a woman, but never ever fall in love with a woman. So that reel garnered around 1.5 lakh views. So lots of messages I received in my Instagram. But two or three questions of this similar nature came that, sir, what is the difference between loving a woman and falling in love with a woman? So that was what my reel was all about, in which I particularly said never fall in love. So that's exactly what I'll be explaining you in today's video, that what is the difference between loving a woman and falling in love with a woman. This is going to be a very crucial piece of advice. So listen to it with great intent. And if you gain anything by my video, do consider giving a super thanks, the proceeds of which will go for charity. You can DM me to book a 1:1 counseling session with me. You can definitely take the Be Millionaire course in this very channel and my Be Charismatic course in my Hindi channel. And you can drop a 5-star rating if you wish to give any direct benefit to me in my Google page, which is Kiran Roy's Guitar Studio. So my point number one is loving a woman is a choice, whereas falling in love with a woman is a trap. So, see, love is conscious, whereas falling in love is nothing but emotional slavery disguised as romance. So, what do you make of it? When you fall in love with a woman, that is pure emotional slavery. You are now not in control of your senses. You are now stooping down to an all time low. You are not having your self respect intact. You are now begging for love. You are now crying for love. You are now singing those sick lyrics which Bollywood abounds in. So basically, it is a complete emotional dependence in the name of romance. Whereas love is supposed to be natural, it is supposed to be unbinding, it is not supposed to make you stoop down to insane levels. Love is supposed to liberate you. Love is supposed to set you free. Love is supposed to make you strong. Whereas when you see the exact opposite thing happening, which is what happens in majority of the cases, I have seen majority of the people from my country. Since I live in India, naturally I've been exposed to the cases happening in my society. So what I see always that people are now, once they fall in love, they are now in no control of their emotional well-being. They have no they have no grip towards the proceedings. They just become completely overburdened from the thing which is called as love, when in reality it is supposed to liberate them. But the exact opposite thing happens. They are the ones now who are constantly begging. They are the ones now who are constantly crying. They are the ones who are constantly requesting now. They are begging for that lady to meet them. They are begging to their partner to give them more time. They are begging for more attention. They are begging to give them whatever they need. So, in short, they are now completely dependent on that woman. So, that is what I mean by calling falling in love. That is what I mean when I say never fall in love. So when a man typically falls in love, their self-respect takes a huge beating. And the funny part, they are not even bothered. They don't even care whether their self-respect is intact, whether they are adhering to their self-respect. They don't even care. They are now completely like, they behave now, their behavior is now like that of an addict, a drug user. Now they don't care from where their next fix is coming. They will do anything for their next fix of drugs. They don't care about their self respect. They don't care about their social standing. They don't care about their purpose. They don't care about their profession. Nothing. It's only that next fix which they are concerned about. The same thing happens to a person when they fall in love. especially these Indian simps. Majority of the Indian people that I have seen, all of them display these attributes. When they are in love with a girl, they should just be in love with a girl, but they make the mistake of falling in love with that girl. And while doing so, their self respect takes a severe beating. And that is what you see everywhere. What are the signs you will say of a man who is who has fallen in love, who is falling in love, or who has fallen in love? These are the very people who will constantly double text, triple text. When I clearly told you in my past videos, never ever double text a girl. If you've texted a girl, see, it is common knowledge now. These days, women are constantly glued to their phones. They have their notifications coming. You won't see, even while working out in the gym, I see girls are glued to their mobile phones. So, what I mean by that is no notification will go missed. They can instantly catch your message. They have read it. So, even if you are not able to see that seen sign, but through that notification bar, they can easily see your message. But in spite of reading, if she has decided to not reply to you, that is when, if you keep on double texting and triple texting, you are severely losing your value. And that is the trap which these Indian men fall for. Because, as I said, once they text, if they don't get a reply, immediately they will double text, they will triple text, they will text for the fourth time, fifth time, without getting any response. That is what is desperate. That is what I call as desperate behavior. And desperation is the killer of attraction. Whenever you indulge in desperate behavior like this, your attraction is slowly getting nullified. And that is going to bring the complete end to whatever little thing you had going. That will completely destroy it. So, in this first point, I hope I have made you explain what's the difference between being in love and falling in love. My second point is loving her comes from strength, whereas falling in love with her comes from weakness. So, when you are in love, you are in complete control. Whereas, whenever you fall in love, that's the complete sign of weakness. You are in complete weakness. So, basically, you stay in control when you love her, but you lose your edge when you fall in love with her. You will see many masculine men. Take any alpha man for that matter. You will see that they do love the girl whom they have in their lives, be it their wives, be it their girlfriend, whatever they may love. But they are the ones who would always have their purpose as their first priority. For example, me, even I've dated lots of girls, but my purpose, my music, my business, my health, my parting with my friends, I had a life of my own. I'll give you this through my own example. I always put more emphasis on my own life. In my own life, I had lots of things happening. As I said, business, health, run, gymming. That time I did not used to run, but I used to gymming, partying. Man, I was a big time crazy party animal. I used to perform. After our performance, we used to have those legendary parties. And I had my best friend as well. I would always give time to him. So one common differentiating factor is me or any other alpha masculine male, not even if not an alpha male, but a masculine male for that matter. The difference between them and the rest is the masculine man will always put his love in the designated respectful area of his life, but they won't make that girl her, they won't make that girl his everything. They would never pedestalize that girl. Though, point to be noted, they do love that girl. The masculine man is definitely in love with that girl. But his life goes on. His life is not going to take a beating. He would be waking up, he would be running, he will be doing his practice, he'll be going for work, he'll be returning, he'll be meeting his friends. His normal life won't suffer at all. This is how a real masculine man who is in love, that is how any man who is in love should function ideally. Whereas a man who has fallen in love, they lose their edge. I just mentioned that. So, what I meant by saying that is when a man is completely head over heels in love with that girl, he now has no other interest left in his life. He will now consider going to the gym a drag. Meeting friends does not interest him anymore. Going for boys night out does not interest him any which ways. Their only their only area of interest revolves around being around that girl. So even if he's shopping like a, even if he's just following, even if he's following that girl from below, carrying the baggages of shopping, he's fine doing it. His entire life revolves around that girl. Now that girl knows that I am his weakness. So this man, what he has ended up doing is showing that girl that she is his weakness. And when that happens, that is just the sign of his destruction. That is just the beginning of his destruction. Because whenever a woman comes to know that she is the weakness of that person, that is when they now take things in a very different fashion. They will now try to manipulate the proceedings for her personal gains. Because always remember, every girl, every each and every girl in this world, they only want to be with a guy whom she likes, whom she finds desirable, whom she finds worth achieving. But if she gets something free of cost, if she is getting things just by itself, she will not value that. For example, I teach guitars, right? You guys are aware. I'm teaching. I'm running India's oldest guitar academy by the name of Guitar Hall, which I'm training since 1998. So it's been 26 years now that I'm teaching guitars. So naturally now my fees are the highest in India. Now my fees are right at the top. So there are many guys who can't afford my fees. So earlier, what I used to do earlier I used to sympathize. I used to say, okay, I will train you for free of cost. I used to do that. But whenever I used to offer them to train them for free, initially they would learn, but very soon they would start taking it for granted. They would start skipping the lessons. Mind you, skipping the lessons wherein I could have easily taken somebody else who has, because I have limited scope, right? I can take only limited number of students. So when because due to him, one entire seat got booked. So when he starts skipping lessons, that seat is now going waste. Somebody else could have taken that seat. So that is the problem which is happening. But they start taking it for granted. But very soon, what I started doing, I started putting a price that even if you can't afford my lessons right now, you will have to pay it to me when you start earning. Or I made it accountable that you have to pay it whether it's today or it's tomorrow. So today is, suppose if a man cannot afford my fees, I don't show them the door. I take them i take them in my class, I take them under my wings, but under the condition that he has to repay me at a later date. Because it's not, I mean, I tell them that you today you cannot afford my fees, but it's not, your time is not going to remain the same throughout, right? This much confidence you have, right, that you will be earning in the future. So they say, yes, of course I'll be earning in the future. So yes, that's when you have to repay my entire fees. I don't want any interest, I don't want anything. Just whatever my present day fees are, that you have to pay me. So when I say that, that is when they start training properly. They don't skip classes. They'll learn putting in their everything, because they now know that they are now accountable. They have to pay me. Even if they come or even if they don't come, they will have to pay me at a later date because he has promised me. So due to that, he now starts coming for the lessons. So you're getting the connection what I'm trying to say. Whenever even the highest fees is given free of cost, even when the services which has the highest fees is given free of cost to somebody, they stop valuing it. But when I'm putting a price to it, even if they can't afford it now, but they know that they have to pay it to me at a later date. But they know at the back of their mind that I have to pay. So now if I don't go, still I'll have to pay it to him. So I'd rather go. So that is why they are now becoming more alert and they are now working hard for it. That same psychology applies to the girls as well. Whenever they are given that validation free of cost, they now don't find it attractive anymore because they want to fight, they want to work towards it, they want to chase something, they want to change the unachievable. That is what gives them that attraction. They want thrill, they don't want anything which is like predictable. And whereas in this case, whenever they are with a guy who has fallen in love, who has fallen head over heels in love with her, so there is no predictability left. She knows that whatever I say, this guy is going to do. Even if I ask him to go and beat somebody, he will go and thrash somebody and come. Even if I ask him to go and buy me an iPhone, even if he doesn't have money, he will steal, he will beg, he will borrow, but he will get it for me. She knows that. She's very well aware that this guy will do anything for me. And that is what completely kills the attraction. So, this is what I mean by saying that whenever you fall in love with a girl, you lose your edge because not only are you doing a big time disservice with your self respect, but at the same time, even that very girl for whom you have actually fallen in love with, even that girl would start losing that attraction for you. So this is like a very important point which I want you guys to understand because it works both the ways, not just for the guy, not it is not just detrimental for the guy, but even from the girl's point of view. Even the girl's attraction towards that guy will start diminishing basically. Now my next point is love adds to your life, whereas falling in love replaces your life. What does this mean? I will explain you. So, real love supports your mission, whereas falling in love makes her your mission. That is the big difference. So, when I was in my late teens, I was in my most long lasting relationship of my life, which happened to be my first relationship of my life. And that was my first and the last, though I've been in many multiple relationships throughout my life, but that was my first actual true love, which I would say till this date. I've had tons of relationships. I've been like very much transparent while saying that. I did not hide anything. I already told you that I've had like multiple relationships. But if you guys ask me how many genuine relationships I've had in my life, which was like actual true love, it was this first relationship of my life. So in this case, what happened was this girl was completely into me, as in that was true love from my end as well as her end. We were destined not to get married due to unfortunate circumstances, and that same old circumstances that she was of my age. And so by the time like I was 23, 24, I had become very big in, I mean when our relationship started, I was definitely into my struggling phase, right? I had just started my business. So naturally, when that time girls used to get married very early. They used to get married off while their parents would start pressurizing them for marriage, like from their 23, 24 itself, which you guys are aware of. And by the time they are 25, 26, 100% they are married off. Like that used to be the case everywhere, and same thing happened with her also. So that was the reason that I was not prepared to get married. I was too young. How you can't expect a 23, 24-year-old dude to get married who has just tasted success. I had tasted success towards the end of our relationship, but that was definitely not my age to get married because I had just started. I had just stepped in the real world. But what I meant by this point is true love supports your mission. So there is a very strong reason why I use this word, because as I said, this was true love from both of our ends, even from her side, even from my side. When I had started I had my vision, right? I was on a mission that I wanted to have a chain of music academies, a chain of guitar showrooms, a guitar factory. I was working towards my mission. And my girl, she gave me full support basically. She, because she was seeing that everywhere I was only getting discouraged by everybody, even my own parents, my own relatives, even her own parents would call me. They would say that this guy is a loser. He's a good for nothing. He won't achieve anything in life. Everybody used to pull me down. But she told me, I'm with you. You just go ahead. You don't worry. You just do what you want. And when I was 17, because we guys got together when we were 16. So when I was 17, I started my first guitar academy by the name of Guitar Hall in Chembur. I still have that property. So I started my work. So it took me 4 years to, because every business needs an incubation period. So in my case, it was 4 years because I started at 17, and when I was 21, it had it was like huge. It became very big. It was so big that not only I could repay off this entire debt which I took my father to procure that property, but I even had extra funds to buy my first luxury car. So by the time I was 21, I was in a very good position. So basically, what happened? I was in love, she was in love, and she supported my mission. So that is what I mean by saying that when you are in love, she will support your mission. Whereas a person who has fallen in love, now he has made that girl only his mission. He has no other mission. Even before the relationship, even if he must have had some interest like say gymming, he had interest to start a business, he had certain plans, even those plans took a backseat now because he ended up making that girl itself his mission. So now what happens, his every waking hour is devoted only towards that girl, nothing else. He just lives, breathes that girl. He now behaves like a total simp. He has no other interest, no other life apart from that girl. So what happens in reality? They end up completely neglecting their own cause, their own future, their own purpose. So by the time, because as you guys are aware, very few of these relationships actually materialize in marriage. Majority of the first relationships, they break up due to some or the other reason, including mine. Even mine could not be successful due to certain reason. Mine is not relevant to the video, and so I'm not adding why, what happened after that, why we could not get married. But in their case also, they break down. But at least when I broke down, I mean when I broke up, I at least had my mission because I was constantly working towards my mission. So in spite of me having a breakup, I had my business had reached a huge high. I had reached a dizzying height of success. So I had nothing to lose. Whereas these guys in question who have made that girl their mission, they now don't have the girl also, they don't have their mission also. So they are now completely on the streets. They don't know what to do because when the 5 6 years which they had completely devoted towards that girl, and that was the time for them to build their future, that was the time to build their skills, to build their business, to build their whatever they are working on, so that in 6 7 years time they could have got that success. But now since they have not invested even a little bit in any other sphere, they now have nothing left, not even the girl, not even their mission. So you can understand, now you understood what I meant by saying that a guy who is in love, they have their mission. The girl will support his mission. Whereas a guy who has fallen in love with a girl, they have nothing, not even their mission. So that is the difference between the both, which I'm trying to explain you. Now, my next point is you can love her and still walk away. So I'll explain you. When you love a girl, you will always have healthy boundaries. At the first sign of disrespect, you will walk away. You will maintain that healthy boundary. You will have your self respect held up high. You will have your spine intact. That is what happens when you are in love with a girl. But when you have fallen in love with a girl, you tolerate disrespect just to keep her. You're getting the difference. A man, I'll explain you again so that it can sink in my point. A man who is in love, they are in love, no two ways about it. But they also value their own self respect and their boundaries. So, even at the first sign of that girl disrespecting him, they will make it evident, they will make it clear that, hey, you did it today, never do it again because you are causing harm to my self respect and I will never take that. They make it evident. Whereas a guy who has head over heels in love with that girl, He will tolerate to be trampled upon on. He will tolerate being the doormat. He will tolerate being the punching bag. He will have no issues even if that girl in question is completely disrespecting him. Why? Just so that he can keep him, just so that he does not lose her. So they have no boundaries. So that is the complete difference between the two. Hope you can understand what I'm saying. My next point is loving is masculine, falling in love is feminine. When you are loving like a man, you are grounded, you are in full control. You are the one who calls the shots, you are the one who pulls the strings. You are in complete control of the entire proceedings. You know what's happening and what's going to happen. It's well within your control. That is the mark of a man. Whereas a man who has fallen in love, he now acts needy. He now acts clingy. He can now go to any depths because he's now fully dependent on that girl. So, in the process, he's losing every bit of masculinity he must have had to begin with. Now he is left with nothing, and that completely destroys the attraction. As I explained to you earlier, no girl likes an emasculated man, and that is exactly what this guy who has fallen in love has turned into. My next point is loving a woman respects reality, whereas falling in love with a woman is worshipping illusion. So when a person is loving a girl, he is completely in reality. He loves a girl. There is nothing wrong that he's doing. He's in love with the girl. So he's respecting the reality. He knows what's the truth. He knows what's the reality. And he chases and he acts as per the reality. Whereas a guy who has fallen in love with that girl, he is now worshipping illusions. So what happens in the process? Even if that girl is disrespecting that guy or calling him names, calling him a loser, he is not even perturbed because he is chasing an illusion. Why? Because he's pedestalizing that girl. Whereas a guy who is just loving that girl, he's not pedestalizing that girl. He knows the reality that where he stands, where she stands, he has accepted that girl with her faults, with her flaws. That guy is aware of her flaws because all are human beings in the end. Everybody has flaws. So when a guy, a masculine guy for that matter, who loves a girl, he is aware of her flaws which he has accepted. Whereas in the case of a guy who has fallen in love with a girl, he doesn't even know what flaws mean because he is idealizing, he is pedestalizing that girl. So he is living in an illusion basically. And that kind of a illusion, when it breaks, it completely destroys everything around them. My next point is loving her does not mean losing yourself. Whereas when you fall in love with a girl, that means your life is orbiting around her. You're getting the difference. When you love a girl, you are not falling or you are not orbiting around that girl. You have your own life, you have your own mission, you have your own purpose in life, which you are constantly working towards. Whereas when you have fallen in love, now your life is completely orbiting towards her life. So that is the complete point which I'm trying to make. My next point is you lead when you love and you fall. And when you fall, you actually chase. So whenever you are in love with a girl, you are completely leading the scheme of things. You are in complete charge. You are leading the proceedings and you are slaying it basically. Whereas when you have fallen in love, you are now actually chasing. You are chasing her. You are chasing everything related to her. Whereas you are not in control of the proceedings. You are now chasing. So you are now sucked into her life. Whatever happens to her, whatever happens to you is completely dependent on what's happening to her. So basically, in love, she joins your world. Whereas when you fall in love, you are the one who joins her world, and everything in her world is what dictates your life. Your life is totally dependent on her world now because you have now been sucked into her life. Whereas when you are in love, then you are completely in charge of your destiny. Nobody is pulling you, nobody is harming you. My next point is you are in power when you are in love, and you are utterly powerless when you fall in love with a girl. How? I will explain you. Love is presence with clarity, whereas falling in love is obsession with insecurity. So, my closing point is loving her is a real, it's a real thing, whereas falling in love with her is a Disney lie. It's a wonderland which leads you nowhere. So, I've tried to explain you everything in proper detail why it is fine to love a girl, but it's absolutely not fine to fall in love with a girl. I've shared you my own experiences, I've shared you everything in detail. Still, if you have any further questions, feel free to ask me. I'll be back tomorrow with another. See you till then. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.